missed field goals. There's been a crazy amount of doinks too, like off the post. Like when it hits the upright and it has that crazy Dolby Digital THX like surround sound thing that hits the post and just like boom, like it's like insane. It's almost like the T-Rex stomping in Jurassic Park where the water's shaking. And there's just been a lot of missed field goals. I think there were 12 missed extra points in the NFL last week. Are kickers being phased out of the league by analytics, people? Are we seeing that? Are we seeing that field goals and extra points shouldn't matter anymore and we should just go for 2 and go for it on 4th down? Is this a conspiracy by Roger Goodell? Was Jon Gruden right to call Roger Goodell what he did because he's getting rid of the kickers? Welcome to RC Sports. RC Sports, it's in the game. I'm Glen Rockney. Follow me on Twitter at Glen Rockney. This is the RC Sports YouTube channel. This is YouTube only stuff right here. Hate the word content. I'm going with the stuff instead. Yeah, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Some people were saying I need to say that at the beginning of the video or whatever. I always hate doing that. I like the more conversational feel, but there you go. I said it. Subscribe to the channel. Spread the word if you can. Yeah, gonna try to do these weekly, bi-weekly for sure. But look at me, 2 weeks, 2 episodes since I've said that. A lot of things happened. I'm gonna give some thoughts on Jon Gruden. That situation is insane, crazy, wild, and also going to talk a little college football today, NFL power rankings, and missed field goals. A little more Urban Meyer talk. In fact, let's start with the Urban Meyer talk. Urban Meyer. So our friend Urban Meyer, right, had this little whoopsie daisy. He had a college moment in the NFL, messing around with the Sigma Chi Delta whatever sorority house chick at the Ohio State bar. Is what it is. Now he threw his starting quarterback under the bus. I don't know if anybody saw this. Trevor Lawrence, who's going to be there longer than Urban Meyer. He's going to be in Jacksonville for at least 5 years, I would think, barring some insane. Maybe if they find Trevor Lawrence emails where he was emailing Travis Etienne in 2013 saying that players should stand for the flag or something like that. Maybe that might surface and they might be able to get rid of Trevor Lawrence earlier than that. But Trevor Lawrence is going to be the quarterback for a while. He's that dude from Clemson. So after the loss to the Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer goes up to the podium, and there was a part where it was 4th and goal from like inches, right by the goal line, right? Usually with your 6'6" quarterback, you call a quarterback sneak, where the quarterback just takes a snap and just dives over. Very simple play, right? Most of the time doesn't get messed up. Most of the time. Urban Meyer runs like a toss. I can't remember exactly what the play was, but it was an outside run, gets snuffed out, loses about 4 yards with Carlos Hyde, who is not a guy you do that with. And so then they asked Urban Meyer, Jacksonville media, they asked him, what did you think about the quarterback sneak? So he threw Trevor Lawrence under the bus, right? Because Trevor Lawrence goes on and says, man, I haven't heard anything about this. I haven't heard anything about this. Like, I didn't do this much in college. Like, I didn't, but I know how to take a snap and fall forward. He's like, if that's what was called, I can do it. So Urban Meyer is ridiculous, man. Just throwing his quarterback under the bus when he's really trying to save his job for even through this year, man, in my opinion, is what he's trying to do. Maybe he's already got his mind up that he's leaving and he's just trying to save face for his next job. But it has been an incredible saga. Now, it is not the most embarrassing spectacle in the league. That belongs to my team, the Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, as usual, many such cases. The Raiders are the wow, what the hell's going on there team. That's what it's been for a while. Antonio Brown, Jamarcus Russell, certain things like that. Tom Cable breaking a coach's jaw in a meeting. Lots of Barrett Robbins, when I was a kid, Barrett Robbins missed the Super Bowl because he was doing a bunch of pills in Mexico. Was watching the game, was like, shit, dude, I think I'm supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Barrett Robbins, Pro Bowl center, no big deal. So that trend continues. Hopefully for the last time. Jon Gruden resigned. Jon Gruden resigned. He had about 6 years left on his deal. That's $60 million. And for those of you who don't know anything about NFL contracts, now the players' contracts, a lot of them don't have full guarantees. Most of them don't. After a couple of years, the team can cut you and just be like, hey, man, sorry, last part of your contract is not guaranteed. You sign, you get some guaranteed money and a signing bonus. And depending on how good you are, that's going to be the more guaranteed you get. It's very much a meritocracy in the NFL. Jon Gruden, coaches' contracts, I should say, guaranteed. They don't come out of the salary cap, which is the amount your team can spend on free agents. Sorry, I'm trying to, I understand maybe some of the viewers aren't as football savvy, and I realize maybe some stuff was going over people's heads. So I'm explaining this for any of you football junkies might be rolling your eyes. Like, I know, Glenn, I understand this shit. Bear with me. But coaches' contracts don't go against the salary cap, which is your allotted money you can spend on your players, regardless of the profit of the team. You get the X amount of dollars every year, market-based kind of thing with the NFL. Coaches' contracts completely off the books as far as salary cap goes. Mark Davis in 2018 signed Jon Gruden to a 10-year deal. 10-year deal. We're talking about a 500 head coach. 500 career head coach, which is the epitome of average. 10-year deal. That's done now. Why is it done? Well, Jon Gruden got canceled. I mean, it's fair to say, right? He's not going to work in the sport ever again. I should preface this by saying I could not stand Jon Gruden and wanted him out immediately for performance issues. Bad coach, bad team builder. He was a jack of all trades, master of none, in my opinion. Sometimes the offense looked pretty good, but I just wanted him gone. With that said, if you want to listen to my other podcast, it's only Raider talk. So if you want to hear like my thoughts on the actual scheme part and what's going to change and what they should do and hirings for the Raiders, that's all there. I just dropped that episode last night, or Monday night, I should say. But let's get to the ethics of this. So why are we seeing Jon Gruden's personal emails from 2011? I'll answer that question, right? Because what Jon Gruden resigned for was a report on Friday, which was October 8th. You had DeMaurice Smith in the subject line of this email in 2011 from Jon Gruden to then Washington GM Bruce Allen. Now, Jon Gruden in that email says DeMaurice Smith, who was the players union rep at the time, and I believe the players were in a lockout in 2011. He said he had Michelin lips. Now, what Jon Gruden said was, DeMaurice Smith is a black dude, so the lips thing, right? Where there's racist connotation there, sure, whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's where everybody went with it. Now, what Jon Gruden said, he kind of was like the previous dude, black dude, Gene Upshaw would have never done anything like this. He wouldn't be blabbing at the mouth, doing all this. And I think it was Jon Gruden was able to spin that off as like, hey, man, I was just talking about, bumping your gums, right? Everyone knows that secret. Talking too much, saying too much shit. Okay, sure. A couple days later, after the Raiders lose an absolute disaster of a game hosting the Bears, a game where they were favored by 4.5, should have won. Bears didn't even play well. The Raiders just managed to spin their tires in the mud for an entire game. Lost that game. Energy was off. Certain players just looked sad. And I'm thinking in my head, really? Like that email really got to them, huh? Like, wow, interesting. So the morale on the team's gone. And at that point, I'm like, man, we got to put up with 6 years of this Gruden shit, man. Like we really do. So then more emails come out. This is yesterday, Monday. Getting ready for the Ravens game to start. Cool. It's happening. All of a sudden I get a thing. Another thing of emails drops. And this one, he's calling Roger Goodell a faggot. This is in quotes. He's calling him a faggot and a pussy who doesn't know anything about football. He then said that Roger Goodell made the Rams draft Michael Sam in 2014 because he made them draft queers. He said that in the quotes. Excuse my laughter there. But he said they basically the Rams were forced to draft him, and Goodell did that, and that's ruining football and all that. Where's the lie? But Anyways, what I think is crazy about all this, and there was another thing that really got people going, is the thing in the NFL. If you haven't watched NFL in a while, post 2016 NFL, when Kaepernick kneeled down, Trump was elected, and all that, the media took a complete turn off of that. So anything that criticizes the Kaepernick protests, no go, even to this day, right? Colin Kaepernick's not in the league anymore. Say what you will about that. Settled with the NFL, but he's not playing again. And Eric Reed was on the 49ers, was Kaepernick's teammate at the time. And Jon Gruden was basically saying it was a disgrace that he knelt, for the flag, like take that stuff off the field. We don't need that. Also called Vice President at the time, Vice President Joe Biden, a scared bitch or something like that, which, yeah. And I save my politics for the other podcast, so don't worry, guys. Anyways, Gruden then is fired or resigned. Essentially, I think it was either you quit or I'm firing you. And I'm wondering, okay, as a fan of the Raiders, if I just see that, I'm like, good. The guy that's holding this team back is gone. Thank God. Right. Like we lost a flat out, like one of the last. Bill Belichick and Jon Gruden are the last dictators in the NFL. They run the show. Bill Belichick's got rings. Jon Gruden's got one in 2002. That's not with this current setup. So in my head, he's gone. But then I look at why, and I'm like, what precedent is this setting, man? Like I understand he was an employee of ESPN at the time. He was the commentator for Monday Night Football when these emails were sent. He was talking to his buddy Bruce Allen. I'm pretty thick-skinned, and I'm not one of those people that like, locker room talk. That's not that big of a deal to me. It's true. Like I am that guy, and I think it's got to be usually pretty damn awful for me to be like, yo, that guy shouldn't be working here anymore. Now his dumbass emailed from the ESPN, computer at work, emailing his boy back and forth, emailing a GM from another team when you're an announcer, you're supposed to be an unbiased announcer, and you're having these casual conversations. Now, did he know 10 years later that would be pulled up in an investigation that would then get him fired from an investigation he wasn't even part of? Yeah, I don't know. Pretty tough. So long story short, I like that Jon Gruden's not the coach of my team. I just hate the ethics of the firing. He should have been fired last year after the Miami loss where Ryan Fitzpatrick came in and beat them at home and took them out of the playoffs. He should have been fired then. But here's the thing. He still had 6 years left on his deal. 6 years left on his deal that the coach, because there was no out in his contract like the players have, right? Coaches can cut them. Hey, you stink now. Get out of here. I don't owe you any more money. Or even here's a little settlement. Get out of my face. Go sign somewhere else, for probably half the price. But these coaches, he was on Mark Davis. If he were to just have fired him for performance issues, like you suck, he'd have been on the hook for a long, 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 long time, for 6 more years, while he still has to pay another coach to take Gruden's place. Not anymore, right? Not when you get the wokes involved. Not when you get woke NFL involved. Not when when you get all this, ESPN brings on, all these people that don't know anything about sports but know everything about ethics and all that stuff. They can make that happen, and you can get the public on your side, at least the affluent public on your side, because they don't want to be on the wrong side of history or are trying to atone for something in the past. Because I'd imagine Jon Gruden's not the only NFL coach that was sending emails like this about Eric Reed back then, or about DeMaurice Smith, or about any of these people. So it gets a little deeper than that too. Mark Davis, son of Al Davis, owns the Raiders. Jon Gruden was emailing Bruce Allen. Bruce Allen worked for Al Davis for a long time, was good friends with Al Davis for a long time. So do you think that maybe there's a non-0% chance, because the NFL shut the door on the rest of this Washington football team investigation, and this was over like sexual harassment in the workplace? They were pulling emails for that. Yet they couldn't find anything in those emails except something that Jon Gruden did for another team during that time to use it against him now. So do you think there has to be a non-0% chance, right, that Bruce Allen, who used to work for Mark Davis's father for a long time, they probably have a decent relationship with each other, because Al would throw your ass to the curb sometimes and you'd never talk again. It didn't seem like that was that case. You would think that those two people maybe knew each other, and Bruce Allen was like, hey, I kind of remember this dude saying some homophobic shit, me and him going back and forth. Now, Bruce Allen took a blow, but I don't think he's even working in the league anymore, if I'm not mistaken. He could be. I actually have not researched that. So he might have been willing to be like, whatever, fuck it. But I'm just saying, like, I think this was just a way for Mark Davis to get out of the final 6 years of Gruden's contract, is all I'm saying. So as a Raider fan, I'm glad. Let's move on. Let's bring in an offensive mind like Joe Brady, Byron Leftwich, somebody like that. Now it's definitely gonna, I wouldn't be surprised if it's definitely a hire that pleases the optics of the people mad at Jon Gruden or the Raiders right now. Let's just say that much of a head coach. But none of this would be possible if it wasn't for NFL media nowadays. So NFL media definitely overcorrects after a while in the past, and regardless of where we were there, a lot in the past, it seemed a lot of it was just about the game. And you had a lot of older white guys covering the game where, if it was a touchdown celebration, you'd be like, oh, stop dancing so damn hard. Terrell Owens, an affront to the game. I'm embarrassed. Blah, blah, blah. You'd get a lot of that kind of stuff. Then the Kaepernick stuff hit, and the journalist takes didn't match the woke takes at that point, right? And to be fair, I'm not one of those people that's against what Kaepernick actually did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that is a method that doesn't involve, burning down Target and doing dumb shit like that in the streets. I think it's what he did raised more attention that way, and he used his own platform to do that. Like, that's fine with me. Whatever. The stuff that came from after that, again, listen to the RareCandy podcast if you want to get into that. I'm not going to touch on it too much. We talk about it a lot more over there. I'm not one of those people. But what's happened since then is the NFL has really put politics first and optics first rather than the game. You have a bunch of analytics nerds that have come in. And I like analytics in football. It's cool. Go for it on fourth down. Go for two. Very exciting stuff. Creates for high drama games. And I think they really help the game. But it's a lot of people who don't know anything about the actual game, never played, but they're just nerds who are woke and want woke points. And a lot of them might be trying to get high fives from like woke points, like, thank you, man. Oh yeah, cool, thanks. Like, oh, I hate myself, me, dumb slow white boy, I could never run like Tyreek Hill. Aha, send tweet. And then everybody's like, haha, yeah, man, fuck yeah. And you're just like, wow, this is crazy. Like, it is nuts, man. Like what you'll see, like, this is a joke take. I'm not saying this is true or anything, but like, you'll see like Sam Darnold and Josh Allen. Wow, they're both rushing for touchdowns this year. Is that cultural appropriation? Like, just dumb, like, real shit like that. Like Mac Jones, dude. Everybody's just rooting against Mac Jones this year. They're just rooting against him. They're just like, yeah, no, like, he's we want him to fail. Like Mac Jones is playing better than Trey Lance right now. And everybody gives Trey Lance the benefit of the doubt, but not Mac Jones. And all I'm saying is, look, in the past, you could make the argument that the opposite was true, right? Mac Jones would get the benefit of the doubt, and Trey Lance was, would be like, oh yeah, he's just a gimmick quarterback running around, doesn't know how to play real football like they taught at Texas A&M back when I went there, class of 1967. And maybe that's the case. You could say that, sure, fine, whatever. All I'm saying is that the correction should just be to talk about the game. Because identity politics don't matter, because at the end of the day, if you look at the NFL, there's great black players, great white players. It's not really needed to be a culture war between the two. I'd argue there's even more great black players in the league. Like, there just is. And it doesn't have to be that thing. Like, we don't have to always operate as though like Lamar Jackson, like, right? You'll watch Lamar Jackson play. He'll just make a bad play, a bad fumble. And people will say like, wow, that was a really bad fumble by Lamar Jackson. I said that last night. Nobody got at me like that, but I'll see somebody with a big platform be like, ooh, God, awful decision by Lamar Jackson there. And they're just like, you trying to say you can't play the position, dude? What are you really trying to say, dude? Let's see your emails. Like, why don't you go ahead and put your Klan hood on, And then like that scores you points in NFL media. People get jobs off. Like, it's just ridiculous. It becomes TMZ mixed with BuzzFeed and nothing to do with actual NFL. And some people will be like, oh, but my football. Oh man. Yeah, I am a traditional football fan. Okay. I don't consider myself a racist. I don't consider myself anything like that. But come on, man. Like, you can't tell me you don't see the same thing if you've been watching the NFL for a really long time. Like, it's ridiculous. And like, this Jon Gruden thing brings up, ties in together with this, like Mina Kimes. Mina Kimes is one of these people. Mina Kimes obviously never played football growing up. That's not a big deal. I actually don't even mind her knowledge of the game. I think she knows about the game. She applies analytics to like real stuff, but she's always hated Jon Gruden, always hated him because he didn't value analytics. Old white man coach, doesn't like analytics. It's definitely more of a, to be fair, her criticism is kind of similar to mine. Like, I think Jon Gruden should have run a more modern ship instead of what he was running. But then, she took the first opportunity to like really drum up what Gruden said as a terrorist attack. You know what I mean? I'll put a clip in here from what she said, but she's like, she's one of those people, like, she made this point, like, she thought she was really saying something. She's like, these old people, these old, white men in the NFL, these people that we're trying to get rid of in the NFL, change the culture of, which, I'm sorry, like, NFL teams want to win more than they want to be white. That's all I'm going to say. That, especially right now when there's really no incentive to be white in the NFL. There's not an incentive. It doesn't sell. It just doesn't. Look at the numbers of the jersey sales and stuff. Like, yeah, you're seeing Josh Allen up there, but we know what moves the needle in the league. It just is what it is. But Mina Kimes is saying, "Oh, what Jon Gruden, he really like hurt my feelings, and oh man, what these." This was her point. She said what these old men, good old boy NFL men, say behind closed doors doesn't match what they say in real life.
It only confirms what a lot of people, myself included, believe, know, suspect, which is that people in power in this league and beyond, the things they say amongst themselves when they are comfortable are different from the things that they say in public. And I believe that investigation, which was not released, should be made public. I think there needs to be more sunlight on all of this and not just on Jon Gruden. And I think this toxic culture needs to be eradicated from the sport that I love.
Oh, you mean like everybody who's ever done a press conference or talks to the media? Like, why is that some novel assessment? And I'm sorry, dude. Like, he called Roger Goodell a faggot. Like, you might be able to find a black coach that said the same thing back then. You might be able to find a woman who said that about Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell's not good. I don't understand when Roger Goodell became like a cool guy to these people. They can't even really speak out on Goodell because they work for ESPN, and that's part of the NFL's image. At the end of the day, Jon Gruden got fired because he worked for ESPN talking shit about Roger Goodell. And she's saying, "Oh, he has an openly LGBT player on this team, and we just need people to be more accountable for their actions and all that stuff." I'm like, you know what? All that's fine and dandy, but like, let's just call it what it was. Like, it's anything that you said at any point in the past can be used against you in employment. When maybe everybody feels that way, but that's just not the road I want to go down. And you can't oppose what they're saying in the media. That's the problem. You can't oppose what Mina Kimes is saying and have any kind of platform. You can only go to like FS1, Fox Sports 1, you know what I mean, and be like a Jason Whitlock, who nobody like cares about. I'm sorry. Like, and I don't think he's terribly good at sports takes and stuff, or Marcellus Wiley and guys like that. That's considered the Fox News of sports coverage. And like they probably will defend Jon Gruden. I haven't seen their take yet. They probably will defend Jon Gruden. But like, you couldn't be on ESPN, right? The places where they actually show NFL games and stuff. You can't be on there and just be like, Mina, I don't think that's true. I think this and this and this. And like Mike Tirico was like saying like, hey, I spent, years working with Jon Gruden. Like, I never heard anything like this come out of his mouth. And then The Root does a story. The Root goes, Mike Tirico's not really black. This is the state of like media coverage. I know The Root's not a sports thing, but like the line's so blurred on who covers sports anyways. It's just ridiculous, So let's move on from there. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know. Like that, like, to me, like, again, I will never cape for Jon Gruden keeping his job, but he should have been fired for performance last year. And Mark Davis should have had to eat his mistake by giving a 10-year deal to a guy who didn't deserve it. He should have had to eat that rather than use this dumb email excuse of him talking to his buddy, you know? And then the people, the group chat people, like I made a post. I was like, hey, oh, wow, Jon Gruden should just join my group chat if you wanted to talk like that. I was just making a joke. And guess what? There's people, oh, that's how you talk in your group chat. Shut up. There's a reason you're not in any when you say that kind of stuff. Everybody talks different like that. He didn't say that publicly. He didn't say anything like that. He said that in the group chat stuff. And this is 2011 when, I'm sorry, like you probably could have said some of that stuff publicly and it wouldn't have been as bad. Like there's no statute of limitations on shit like that, I guess. But, you know, again, like I that's stuff I can't defend when people say it on actual broadcast media, but that was pulled from his private emails. Even though, you know, I guess they have the right to do that. You can't tell me that the ethics of that aren't weird, even though you like the end result. Because Raider Nation is pretty excited about him being gone. I'm one of them, just from a football standpoint. But yeah, all these people acting high and mighty, where they're like, "Oh, I never say that in my group chat. I just say really mundane, dumb things to my friends, and it's the coolest group chat ever. Everyone wants to be in it." Nah, everybody gets spicy in the group chat. I mean, if you're funny, at least. So, next up, let's talk actual football. Let's talk about the game, right? Arizona Cardinals, are they for real? Arizona Cardinals, you kidding me? Cliff Kingsbury, Kyler Murray, two guys I was low on last year, low on going into the year. Wasn't a big fan, but 5-0 is 5-0. And they've got some good wins. I was scared about Arizona against teams like the Niners, right? I bet on Arizona -5, not to brag, covered, you know, never in doubt. But I was a little bit nervous that the Niners could just come in and be physical, like the way the Niners are against Green Bay in the playoffs, where they just blow Green Bay off the ball. Even though Green Bay is probably more a talented team, the Niners are just one of those tough teams. And they're struggling right now, but they're tough up front in the trenches, both sides. Arizona disagrees. They slugged it out with them. 17-10? Slugged it out. When I saw that Arizona could win a slugfest where it wasn't, 35-30, overtime, crazy stuff, they were just like, you know what? You guys want to play bully ball against us? We'll out-bully you. Those are the teams that I think are for real. Kyler Murray's playing really good football. They're running the ball pretty well. DeAndre Hopkins makes big catches when you need him. Rondale Moore is awesome. Anyway, see that catch? That was unbelievable on the sideline. Rondale Moore Kyler Murray just throws up a prayer on the sideline. Rondale Moore, who's about 5'5", just like reaches over, toe tap, like it was crazy, and he was covered too. Great catch. They look like they have it. They look like they do. On defense, they got a lot of speed. They're fast and they're physical. They remind me a lot of like Seattle Legion of Boom, a little bit of that going on. And you got old man JJ Watt really crushing it over there. They're for real. Who else is for real? So I'm going to talk about my top 5 NFL teams right now, power rankings. NFL power rankings. Yeah, that's what we're going to call it. I'm going to come up with I was trying to come up with a cool name. Couldn't do it. Sorry. My number 1 team in the NFL right now is Buffalo Bills. Going into Arrowhead and look, who's been saying that the Chiefs are kind of, I'm not saying they're frauds, because I still think they're going to make a run and possibly make the postseason, but they're soft. Buffalo went into Arrowhead, had a huge weather delay at the half, went in there and really just dominated the Chiefs. Dominated them. They beat the Chiefs the way that the Buffalo would beat, like, just a bad AFC opponent, right? Like the Jaguars or something. Like they really went in there and handled business. I think their run game, they're getting a lot more production out of their running backs in the passing game, like Zach Moss, Devin Singletary. Emmanuel Sanders has been really good for them. Josh Allen's just playing out of his mind. Their offensive line looks good. Defensive line, Gregory Rousseau, AJ Epinesa. Draft picks just hitting the last couple of years. Must be nice. Teron Johnson in the secondary. Micah Hyde with the pick 6. Tre'Davious White. Tremaine Edmonds is playing a lot better than he has in years past. Like, that's a good team. Right now, they're number 1. Now, it's a flimsy number 1. I could see other teams jumping ahead of them. This isn't like a far and away number 1. Arizona Cardinals number 2. I won't go too much more into them. I think they're the best team in the NFC right now. I mean, they're 5-0 and they've beaten some good teams. They've beaten, what do they have? 2 division wins already. They've already beaten the Rams and the 49ers, and the Seahawks are without Russell Wilson for a long time, which people are forgetting about that one because that happened on Thursday night. Russell Wilson's out for another, I think, at least 4 weeks. Kind of scary for the Seahawks. How do the Seahawks maintain anything in that division? I mean, they were already treading water with Russell Wilson healthy. Number 3, I have the LA Chargers. It pains me to say it. I hate the Chargers. I can't stand them, but they are damn good. That battle against the Cleveland Browns, who I don't think are far off from the top 5 as well. I think they're probably in the 7 to 9 range of the power rankings. I haven't done a full one, but LA, I mean, Herbert's playing out of his mind. That was great. That was just a great game. While I was watching my Raiders lose, I was simultaneously watching the Chargers come back down 2 scores against the Browns. The Browns aren't a bad defense and they're tough up front. They're edge rushers, but man, the Chargers, that offense is it is a Swiss watch. They got Eckler coming out of the backfield. They got Keenan Allen running underneath stuff. Mike Williams is the downfield threat. Donnell Parham's playing well as a tight end. I've had to pick him up as an emergency fantasy tight end in years past in some deep leagues. Now he's the type of guy you wish you did have him. And Jared Cook's in there making big catches too. Then on defense, man, Derwin James is healthy. For as long as Derwin James is healthy for that team, him and Joey Bosa together. Now, both guys have injury concerns, but man, you can't tell me that's not a scary team. And if they were to get, Kenneth Murray, I think Kenneth Murray's might be out for the season. Actually, IR is different nowadays. They never specify it till later, but that's just a tough team. Asante Samuel looks like he's coming into his own as well. They're good. They're good. That's the 3rd best team in the league. The other LA team is my number 4 team. I still think the Rams are really, really solid. Now they can be exposed. I think they can be exposed. I think you can run the ball on them. I think Stafford, it's very funny. PFF has they grade players individually, and Stafford's not grading any better than he was with the Lions if you just isolate his play. And I've heard other people confirm this as well, and I can confirm it just watching it off a couple beers or something. Like, he doesn't look any better. This is just a better team. They just plucked him like one of those toy grabber things, like the things that steal all your money trying to grab like a plush toy or something out of a arcade machine. Like, they just plucked him out and they're like, we're just going to put him over here on this good team. And then they're winning. And yeah, they look good. The Rams look great, actually. I mean, they went up to Seattle and won, which, as long as Russell Wilson's healthy, which he's not anymore, thanks to Aaron Donald. But he was healthy for most of that game. And they went up to Seattle and won, which is usually never easy. Their one loss is to Arizona, who I think is the 2nd best team in the league. So you put Arizona ahead of them. I think the Rams kryptonite is always the 49ers. So I'm interested in seeing when they play. The 49ers should be having a healthy George Kittle back for that game. It's still a few weeks out. I think November 15th, I want to say. So they don't play till later in the season. Those are going to be those super physical run the ball teams that the Rams play against. Those are going to be the true test, but they've already taken down Tampa and had some nice wins. So that's Rams are number number 4. And then I am going with number 5. This might shock some people, but I don't know how you can stop denying them. How about them Cowboys, the 5th best team in the league, the Dallas Cowboys? I have them ahead of Tampa. Mostly because of health. I'll say that much. Tampa's secondary is decimated. A lot of injuries to key players, and they're going to need guys to cover for them to do anything. But Dallas, man, they're getting good pass rush. They have speed on defense. Their defense was awful last year, but they've gotten back to respectable. Micah Parsons looks like the best rookie going right now. I'd have to say him and Jamar Chase. Like, how does it get better than those two guys? Trevon Diggs, you kidding me? 6 interceptions on the year. You got a lockdown corner in the 2nd year, getting even better, learning on the fly. Dak Prescott, who I love Dak Prescott. I love the way he plays. I think he's that clever balance between traditional pocket passer, but a guy who can move a little bit too. I think that's still undefeated in the league, even more so than the Lamar Jackson, make something happen with my legs at, first and then become a passer. That's even better than that. I think it's sustainable. I think you could do it for a longer time. And Zeke Elliott in their run game, Tony Pollard, that offensive line, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, all these guys, they're balling, man. Like I'm telling you, that is a good team. Dallas is scary. Dallas is one of those teams nobody wants to give them credit because all 31 out of 32 fan bases hate Dallas. They're just one of those teams. It's kind of like the Yankees. Like they're back. They're back. And I think as long as Dak Prescott's healthy, they're going to be really good. They're going to run away with that division, like no question. So that's also why I have them so high. They're going to win the division. Like who else in that division? I mean, Washington's been a huge disappointment. Philly's not great. And the New York Giants just lost Saquon Barkley and then probably Daniel Jones for next week. And they're already 1-4. So there's really no competition for them there. And so they're going to have probably the advantage of clinching the division early in the NFC. They'll probably have that advantage, them and maybe the Packers, but don't sleep on those Minnesota Vikings, giving the Packers a little run for their money. So that's the top five. Again, just outside, I have like Cleveland, Tampa, Baltimore. I still got to see a little bit more from Baltimore, and the Chiefs too. The Chiefs are probably just outside the top five simply just because Mahomes. I mean, they're not out of the top 10 like how ESPN has them. Like, no way. They're not that bad, but they're just, I don't know. I could see them on the outside looking in if they don't figure something out on defense. Chris Jones missed the last game, and Bills could have done whatever they wanted to Kansas City, like anything. Could have had Josh Allen play left-handed and won that game. Just a couple more things here I want to talk about. Missed field goals. There's been a crazy amount of doinks too, like off the post. Like when it hits the upright and it has that crazy Dolby Digital THX like surround sound thing that hits the post and just like boom, like it's like insane. It's almost like the T-Rex stomping in Jurassic Park where the water's shaking. And there's just been a lot of missed field goals. I think there were 12 missed extra points in the NFL last week. Are kickers being phased out of the league by analytics, people? Are we seeing that? Are we seeing that field goals and extra points shouldn't matter anymore and we should just go for two and go for it on fourth down? Is this a conspiracy by Roger Goodell? Was Jon Gruden right to call Roger Goodell what he did because he's getting rid of the kickers? No, I'm kidding. But no, kickers having a rough one, man. Justin Tucker makes a 66-yarder a couple weeks ago. That one doinked too. People forget. But, it's kind of understandable on that one. Packers and Cincinnati. They were dueling missed field goals. A kicker celebrated a field goal that he thought he made that he clearly missed. They're doing bad. But I don't mess with kickers, so there's no sympathy from me. But if they do get phased out, it will be something of the new NFL taking over. We already seen what they did for the media. The new NFL wants to take kickers out of the game. I hate kickers, but I need them in the league so I can hate them. Right? It's like a character in a show that you really love. You hate the character, but if that character gets killed off, you're like, well, fuck, I needed something to hate. Save the kickers, everybody. Even if you hate them. College football. I'm going to round it out with a little college football. How about Georgia? Georgia Bulldogs. Dude, they're better than Bama. I hate to break it to you. They're better than Bama. Bama loses to Texas A&M. And Georgia just pounds Auburn. Pounds them into submission. Stetson Bennett running around, making plays. Georgia's defense. How many first-round picks are they going to have on that team? They've given up 33 points this year. They shut out Arkansas, right? Their EPA allowed per play, right? That's the expected points added, right? It's an analytic per play. So, it's a metric people say, how good is this defense, right? They are negative or minus 0.0 or 0.35, I should say. Sorry, numbers aren't my specialty. That is on par with one of the best defenses was 2011 Alabama, who was 0.33. So these are some of the best defenses of all time. It's wild. Like you might see this Georgia defense go down as number one. They know how to run the ball. They have a good offensive line. Their quarterback situation gets murky. JT Daniels, I don't really like, but Stetson Bennett, I feel like can get it done. I feel like he can play well enough to be like those Alabama quarterbacks who rode all that top talent. They have a great tight end. Georgia's tight ends. He's from Napa too, and it's escaping me right now. So I feel bad for not knowing it because he's a Northern California guy, but missing his name there. But no, this Georgia Bulldog team is for real. They're favorites to win it all. Clemson sucks this year. They're not going to be around. And speaking of Alabama, right? I have a theory that Alabama is on a bad trajectory right now. Now, I'm saying this, they probably have a bunch of 5-star recruits ready to replace the current ones. I'm not saying there's no talent there, but they're almost becoming like an Oregon of the SEC. Does that make any sense? Just run it and gun it, shoot it, score a bunch of points. Who cares about defense, right? I don't know, man. SEC, you got to still have that nasty defense. The last couple Alabama teams I've seen, the defense hasn't been quite championship worthy, but their offense has just been crazy. And they have Bryce Young. He's a beast. He's going to be a very good college quarterback. He's just getting started. Their wide receivers this year, it's pretty tough to top what they've had the last couple of years, right? With Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. Nuts. So it's tough to top that, but I don't see the same level of talent that I do this year. And hey, this is Georgia's time to win this. Georgia's time to win. Another thing I've noticed, Cincinnati is the real deal. Cincinnati is the real deal. And they beat Notre Dame pretty handily. They got Notre Dame to make a bunch of dumb mistakes in the red zone. Their defense, Ahmad Sauce Gardner, fantastic name, fantastic player, very physical corner. He's going to be playing on Sundays and probably pretty good too. They have really good stuff. Their quarterback's very solid. That's just a team I could see sneaking into the playoff. We'll see, but they can play. Like that's a good team. That Cincinnati Bearcats, well-coached team. Just, man, that defense is for real. And do they get into the playoff? We'll see. They might need another big win. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but they're going to need another big win. But a team I see falling out is Iowa. Somebody's going to have to fall out for Cincinnati to get in, but Iowa's that team, in my opinion. They should have lost to Penn State. Penn State's quarterback, Clifford, gets hurt. Iowa is the most boring top 5 team, and they're always the most boring team. And I'm not saying they don't have good players come out of it. Dallas Clark, you have guys like Desmond King. There's a lot of really good players that come out of Iowa. I'm not saying that they don't have a lot of talent. But for one, everybody looks slow in an Iowa uniform. Everybody looks very slow. When you watch the game, you're like, what's so good about these guys? They just look slow. So if they pop out, Cincinnati can hop in. I think Cincinnati has a very good defense to keep their spot there. Kentucky's also another one, man. Watch out for Kentucky. That quarterback. Oh my gosh. Will Levis, someone says his name. Man, that guy can play. And very fun year of college football. My Notre Dame Fighting Irish, I don't think they have what it takes this year, although they had a nice win against Virginia Tech. So they won't be able to disappoint me in the playoffs this year, I don't think. And that's it for me, guys. I don't know how long that episode was. It didn't feel like a long one, but I'm at Glen Rockney on Twitter. I have a podcast called RareCandy with my good friend Crypto Psy. We just dropped an episode with Slav from the Fed Post talking about quitting your job for the vaccine mandates and stuff. Really good stuff. Subscribe to the YouTube channel here. If you're on this YouTube channel, like, hey, where's all the Rare Candy episodes? Those moved over to Rumble. Go follow at Rare Candy Pod 1 and go to the link in the bio. You can find on all our links there. You can find the Rumble stuff there if you want to watch the videos of Rare Candy on there. That's it for me, guys. Everybody have a safe week. All right.